Hello, I'm the Who Guy and welcome back to another part of us building our Hachette Partworks Dalek. We've got 4 issues to go through today, so we've got issue 19, 20, 21 and 22. So I've got these metal plates to show off. These are really cool. These were like an added extra. You did have to pay for these, so we'll get closer into those as well before we get into the issues, but they do look really cool. And then we're going to continue with our Dalek build as always with these 4 awesome issues. And let me tell you, you want to stick around because issue 19 is fantastic. If you're not already, subscribe down below and smash that like button if you enjoy these Dalek videos. There'll be timestamps on your screen now if you want to skip to a certain issue or part of the video, and they'll also be in the comments and description down below. Let's get straight into the build. But before we get into the issues, like I said, these were included with this month's parcel. So it's in this nice white box with a Doctor Who Dalek sticker on. These were $19.99, so these were an extra bonus for being a subscriber, I guess, online, but you did have to pay for them. But I think they look really, really cool. So let's take a closer look. And they are 3 metal Dalek signs, little posters. They are absolutely awesome. Here they are. I probably won't open them up yet just because I want to keep them as nice a quality as possible. But the first one here being the Daleks, and that looks really cool there with the William Hartnell and the gang there, as well as, of course, the Daleks. So that's a really cool kind of like film-esque poster. And it's this proper nice A4 kind of size, made in metal as well as embossed in certain parts. They're not the strongest quality metal things, like they do have a bit of a bend. There are scratches on the sign as well, but I do believe there's a protective film on it, so that shouldn't be a problem when I take it out. And then the second one we have is a Genesis of the Daleks here. So this is a real spooky looking one, and that looks really, really cool. So all 3 of these completely different. More like the Dalek that we're building in our partwork. It is Army of Ghosts there with Dalek Sec and the rest of the Cult of Skara. So that is really, really cool. For 20 quid. That's a steal. I absolutely love these, and it's a cool little added bonus that subscribers are able to purchase. But with that over and done with, let's get into issue 19, and it looks like we get the Dalek Mutant in this issue. Look how big this box is. Let's get it open. So with the massive box to one side, here is our issue 19 with the silver rustic background. Looks like we're going to look at Prisoner of the Daleks, which I believe is a Doctor Who novel, and of course our step-by-step instructions. A lot of them have been missing this kind of artwork on the inside cover, so it's cool to see we get an Emperor Dalek on this one. And we get the contents page of what is going to be inside this week's issue. So inside we get a real in-depth look at Prisoner of the Daleks, which is a Doctor Who novel. So this is really cool. One of my favourite Doctor Who book covers ever. So this is really cool that they're going in depth with Doctor Who novels. We get a nice bit of cardboard here as well, which is really nice to protect the magazine. So I have been a bit iffy with the magazines coming in bad condition, and the cardboard has definitely helped it out. We get this really janky looking Dalek here on the right though. Then we get a double page spread on the Time Lord Victorious and all of the different media that was released with that, including the Daleks, so that's really cool. Then we have our step-by-step instructions, which looks like it's going to be an absolute easy issue 19 because it looks like we're just looking at our Dalek basically. And then on the final page we get a sneak peek of issue 20, which will be coming up later in the video. It's our massive box. Let's get this Dalek Mutant out. Opening up, it's really nicely packaged here, all in cardboard, wrapped up in paper, so that's really nice. It is our Dalek Mutant. Now that is absolutely awesome. I absolutely love the detail in this. This is really nicely painted as well, so that is awesome. We get the eye here looking really, really cool. It's kind of made out of this rubbery plastic, which I wasn't actually expecting. I was expecting it to be hard plastic, and it kind of squidges as well, so you could maybe put something inside that to have it moving. But it smells really nice as well. But yeah, no, really, really happy with this. It's quite big as well, bigger than I thought it was going to be. And I guess now all we need to do is get this on our Dalek. In the issue, all it tells you to do is sit the Dalek into our little chamber here that we've been making from previous issues, and that's it. That's all it says. All it says is to check the fit and then take it back off again. So that is all we have to do for issue 19. But what an issue this is, because that looks really cool. I love how it sits. It does kind of cover up the screen. It does feel like it's a bit too big. Looking back at the episode though, it does look kind of accurate, and I just really like this design. And for £12, I'm going to buy another one of these because this is awesome. You can always subscribe on the Hachette website, so that will be in the description down below. But I gotta say, This has to be my favourite issue so far, just because this is cool on its own, and I cannot wait to have this in the Dalek itself. Exterminate! So now we're into issue 20. Let's get this open. Starting off with our battered magazine this time. This is what I mean. Just include a little sheet of cardboard every time, because yeah, that's not great. But it looks like we have our step-in-step instructions, of course, and it looks like we're going to look at the escape of the Daleks. Purple logo on this one. Opening up, we get no cover art, we just get the contents page, and then we get the escape, which is our adventure in time and space this time. Real nice look of the story itself, as well as behind the scenes. We also get this, some really cool original concept art of the original Dalek. We got a guy on a bike there, so that's quite funny, and the original design of the Daleks. Of course, our step-in-step instructions. Looks like we're continuing on with our midsection. Be mostly plastic parts in this issue. That looks fun. Sneak peek for issue 21. Let's get into the build. Of course, opening up the part box, everything wrapped up really nicely. So here are our parts for this issue. Let's continue on with the build. So firstly, what it would like us to do is grab these two parts. They're both labelled C, and that should just slot into place like so, like there. Now what we need to do is add an AP screw into that hole. And with that fully screwed into place, that won't move at all, so that's all done. And that could just be placed to one side for now, because then we grab our second lot, which are labelled D, and then completely repeat the steps. Just line that up like so, and then add our AP screw in. And that should just tighten quite easily like so. And now with that fully into place, we've got these two little guys, and they look really cool. So placing those to one side, now we need to grab this big plastic piece and our Dalek seat area, which we've been making in the previous issues, and we just need to attach this to this base. And what we need to do is just kind of flip this over, and we see these little pegs here. We just need to line them up with the inside of these ones, so that should just slot into place like so, like that, hopefully. And then with a bit of force, just push it down so all these pegs are all aligned, and now that is attached to our Dalek base. And that does look pretty cool, so we're building a nice little wall around it. And now what we need to do is add 4 FP screws into this to keep this into place. There's one. With those 4 screws now, so that's looking pretty neat. And what we need to now do is grab our C part here that we made earlier in this issue and attach it to the back of this wall. So the C1, I believe, goes into this one. There's 2 little pegs and a peg on the floor. And as you can see, they should slot straight in. Can be quite difficult just because this chair's in the way. I feel like we should have done that last. So pushing that in, hopefully that's in. It's very hard to line up on camera. Now what we need to do is grab the other one and line that one up. This one should be a bit easier because the chair's not in the way. And now with those into place, we just need to flip it over. Hopefully they don't come out. And add 4 AP screws into these holes. So with those screws into place now, that is all attached, and that is looking really cool, giving us added detail inside our Dalek. And that's it for issue 20. Let's get into issue 21. So here's issue 21 with the gold banner. Let's get it open. Smaller part box this time. Looks like we're going to look at some more Davros facts, as well as our step-by-step instructions. No artwork, just the contents page, and then we get our adventure in space and time, which is Day of the Daleks Part 3. Get some really classic photos in here of Jon Pertwee. Get some information all about Davros again, and this is part 3. Some really nice information here, and it's going to be a nice read. And then we're continuing on with our Dalek Mutant Control Center midsection and our instructions. At the last issue, we'll be building in this episode. So here are our parts for issue 21. Let's get building. What it would like us to do is grab these 2 parts, and it's a simple push fit with this one, so that should just line up like so, and we will push that down as far down as possible. Next, what it would like us to do is grab this black ring, and once again a push fit onto that, so there'll be 4 little pegs here, 4 little pegs there, and just align them. 2 are spaced out more than the other 2, so it should go in only one way. With that pushed all together with a bit of force, that's that stage done. Grab our Dalek control center, which is really starting to bulk up now. You can see here there are 4 little pegs. Again, what we need to do, a push fit and add these 4 pegs to it. Only one way to put this in just because of the spacing of the pegs. And again, another push fit, and that's pushed down like so, and that's not going anywhere. So that's looking pretty neat. And what we would like us to do is now attach our pipes. One is smaller than the other. You need the bigger one first, so the smaller one facing towards the backdrop, and there's those pegs there. And as you can see, we're just going to slot this into those 2 pegs there. Once again, that should just be a little push fit in, and I believe that's pushed in. Now we need to flip it over and add our screws. You can see there they are pegged in, and we need a GP screw and a HP screw this time. So of course the bigger hole is going to be for the bigger screw, and that should go into like place. It looks quite tight though, so this is going to be quite a tight fit. Nicely into place. Should keep that pipe down. Yep, looks pretty decent. Tricky, that is now solid on our base. So now what we need to do is grab the smaller one with the smaller gap there, and then fit that exactly the same like we did there. Just once again slot into place like so. Flip it over again and fit those 2 screws in. Now the dreaded small one. And that's it for issue 21. Not doing too much to our Dalek, we're just adding extra details to our control center, but it is looking really nice with those wires. Let's get into the final issue of this episode. And here it is, issue 22. Put our box to one side, and here we have the blue banner on this one, again dented as always. The 7th Doctor versus the Daleks, and our step-by-step instructions. Once again, no cover art, but we get the inside page, as well as our adventure in space and time this week is Remembrance of the Daleks Part 3. Really do like the classic look of these Daleks. And we also have a double page spread all about the 7th Doctor versing the Daleks, whether that's in comics, media, or just episodes. More parts for our midsection, as well as our step-by-step instructions that we're going to complete today. And finally, we get a sneak peek at issue 23, which will be in the next episode of our Dalek build. Looks like we're adding another wall and this part here, so that's pretty cool. So here are our parts. Looks quite similar to what we've been building so far, so let's continue. Once again, what it would like us to do is again do that push fit that we did in the last issue. And that just pushes into place like so. And then once again, add that ring with the 4 peg holes and add it to the 4 pegs here. Once again, just a push fit. That's that piece done. Then repeating what we did last issue by adding another one of these to this side, making sure it's all lined up on the right side. Should just fit into place like so. There you go. Pretty simple. And then finally, what I would like us to do is grab these guys and once again fit them like we did in the previous issues in this episode, labelled B and A, so we can find those 2 parts simply. And all we have to do is once again line this up like so. And that slots into place like so, and then add a AP screw into that socket there. Follow the same steps with this one. So pretty simple because we've done it before, and that is it for issue 22. So pretty simple because we were just repeating steps we've already done. Doesn't look like we're attaching these yet because of course we need that second wall here, but that should be coming in the next issue. So you can keep these 2 to one side. Of course, today we've done quite a bit of work on our control center, and we finally have our Dalek mutant, which you don't have to glue down yet. I don't know whether we will glue it down, but it can just sit there on display for now, and it looks really, really cool. I love the quality of this thing. It's really nice. I love all the tentacle details. Really, really cool. So thank you guys so much for watching. We've got a really nicely detailed mutant finally in our collection, and we've done some really nice work to our mutant control center. Extras of our metal posters as well. Really, really neat. I absolutely love these and I cannot wait to put these up on my wall. And as ever, if you're not subscribed already, make sure to do so. If you've enjoyed the video, smash that like button, and I can't wait for our next issues of this Dalek. I've been the Who Guy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Dalek mutants are born hating